Single dad's blind date reveals a hidden connection with an inspiring college girl. A life-changing encounter awaits. Mike took a deep breath as he approached the little cafe on the corner of Maple and First. After long days working as a mechanic and waiter, personal exhaustion weighed heavily on him. Still, it was just a date. A blind date set up by Mary, his neighbor, who insisted he deserved some happiness. His heart pounded as he pushed the door open, the bell chiming softly. He didn't know what to expect. And then he saw her. Sarah. Vibrant, beaming, all that energy bubbling in a college tee and jeans. Just a few months ago, she wore pigtails as she raced around the neighborhood on her bike, always waving to Mike and little Lily. Memories flooded back, a stark contrast to his world of bills and nightly homework with his daughter. They'd grown, yet in so many ways, they were still the same. As they began to share stories, Mike leaned in, captivated. Life had dealt him its blows, but Sarah was a breath of fresh air. She spoke passionately about her studies, juggling classes and a part-time job. "It's tough with student loans," she confessed, a flicker of vulnerability brushing her cheeks. Mike nodded, remembering the burden of his own financial struggles. "Being a dad is a full-time job," he admitted, chuckling lightly. "No pay, but the love, it's worth every second." Their laughter mingled, creating a warm cocoon around them in that cafe, but as they delved deeper into their conversation, the social pressures grew heavier. Mike's heart sank when Lily's name came up. Sarah's voice softened. "I've heard kids can be really mean, even with something as silly as money." "Yeah, she doesn't understand why her friends treat her differently," Mike sighed, the tightness in his chest returning. He feared that opening his heart would put his daughter at risk. Just then, they caught wind of an urgent town hall meeting addressing bullying and socioeconomic disparities in their community. Mike felt a fire ignite within him. Maybe they had to do something. Part of him wanted to protect Lily at all costs. What would a relationship mean for her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Side by side, Mike and Sarah stood at the town hall, their hearts pounding as they shared their stories. They spoke of resilience, love, and the crucial need for community support. The crowd listened intently, a spark of change ignited in the air. But Mike's inner battle tore at him. He wanted to step forward, yet the weight of feeling whole again while protecting Lily felt like a delicate balance. Then the moment of chaos struck when Lily, with her big, innocent eyes, happened to overhear Mike questioning if he was ready for a new chapter in life. The uncertainty washed over her face, and Mike's heart shattered. As the night wore on, vibrant hope flickered alongside Mike's deep-seated fears. Would love truly be a distraction from his devotion? Caught in the complexity of their feelings, they remained on the edge of a precipice, uncertain. Would daring to seek something new risk everything they held dear? As the town hall quieted, Mike pondered the crossroads before him, an emotional storm brewing. Could love and family intertwine, or would they clash? The following days blurred together for Mike. He couldn't shake the image of Lily's face as she overheard his thoughts. It felt like a weight had settled over him, heavy and suffocating. Every time he opened the door to their small apartment, Sarah's laugh echoed in his mind, juxtaposed with the worried frown from his daughter. Lily had been unusually quiet. The sparkle in her eyes wasn't as bright, and Mike could feel the tension hanging in the air like a storm cloud. He watched her during their evening routine, her little hands mechanically brushing her teeth, her gaze distant. It wasn't the carefree spirit he was used to. "Hey, how about we make some brownies tonight?" he suggested, trying to bring back that familiar light. Her glance flickered towards him, hesitant, before she nodded. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. He mixed the batter with an enthusiasm he didn't quite feel, remembering the times they had baked together. As he stirred, the batter thickening under his relentless hand, he caught himself staring into space. What was he doing? Could he truly uncover love while protecting his daughter from heartache? The thought twisted his stomach. Just as the brownies came out of the oven, Lily's voice broke the silence. "Dad, can I ask you something?" She hesitated, twisting her fingers. The lump in Mike's throat tightened. "Of course, Lily. You can ask me anything," he replied, putting down the spatula. Is everything okay with you and Sarah?" Her voice was small, barely above a whisper. The air thickened around them, and Mike felt exposed. "Well, we're just getting to know each other," he paused, reflecting on his choices. "I care about her, but our family is really important too. Do you like her?" The question hung in the air like an uninvited guest. "I do, sweetheart." He braced himself against the counter, breathing in deep. It was easier to face a wrench or a faulty engine than to navigate this conversation. "But you're my priority. Always." Lily nodded, though her eyes were still clouded. "I heard some kids saying stuff about us. About you needing to find a new girlfriend because I'm not enough." Each word drilled into Mike's heart. "Who said that?" "A boy from school." "I just don't understand. If you like her, then why can't I just be enough for you?" Her little voice broke, and Mike felt tears pricking his eyes. He moved closer, kneeling to her level. "Lily, you will always be my everything. No one can change that. I love you so much." He took a breath. "Sometimes, grown-ups can have friends too. That doesn't mean I love you any less." A sliver of understanding crossed her face. "But what if she doesn't like me? Then we'll figure it out together. Because that's what family does." He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her close. Their embrace felt both comforting and fragile. They were navigating uncharted waters, the bond between a father and daughter tightened by love, yet overshadowed by insecurity. Later that night, as he lay in bed, Mike picked up his phone. Thoughts of calling Sarah surfaced, the spark of connection igniting against the backdrop of his worries. But hesitation gripped him. Was he pushing Lily aside in the pursuit of happiness? The next day, he decided to invite Sarah over for dinner. It was a step he knew would shift the ground beneath them. But could love flourish in a situation shrouded in fear? Would they emerge stronger, or fall apart under the weight of unspoken worries? With his heart pounding and a sense of impending change looming, Mike texted Sarah, "Dinner at my place? I'd love to introduce you to someone special." As he hit send, he couldn't shake the thought. Was he ready for the tidal wave of emotions about to hit them all? The hours crawled by until dinner. Mike paced in the small kitchen, thumbing through the same stack of takeout menus for the third time. He couldn't stop thinking about Lily. Would she feel awkward when Sarah arrived? Would she give her the cold shoulder? "Dad, is she coming?" Lily called from the living room, her voice tinged with curiosity. "Yeah, just getting everything ready," Mike replied, forcing a smile that felt like a mask. He turned back to the counter, his mind swirling with 1,000 scenarios. Lily had made an effort to help him set the table, proudly placing forks and plates just the way her mother used to. But Mike noticed the way her hands faltered, how her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Do you want to help me stir the pasta?" he asked, keeping his tone light. "Okay," she said, stepping closer, her brows still furrowed. She watched him keenly as he leaned over the pot, the steam rising into the air, enveloping them in warmth. As they clanged spoons against cookware, the doorbell rang. The sound sliced through the room, freezing them in place. Mike felt his heart leap, and Lily's eyes widened, the uncertainty written all over her face. "Can you answer the door?" he said, holding back the urge to run instead. Lily hesitated, but after a moment, she nodded. As she stepped away, he tried to ignore the heat rising in his chest. He watched as she slowly opened the door, and there stood Sarah, her smile bright and genuine. "Hi there, Lily. Is it okay if I come in?" she asked, her voice smooth and inviting. Lily nodded, but as she stepped back, the door frames seemed to separate them all, a moment both tender and awkward. Mike noticed how Sarah crouched down slightly, meeting Lily's gaze. "Wow, thank you for having me over. I hope you like pasta," Sarah said, her cheerful tone aiming to bridge the gap. Lily replied quietly, not meeting her eye, but shifting her weight as if her feet were unwilling to settle. Mike cleared his throat, forcing himself to jump in. "I hope you're hungry. I can be a bit of a monster in the kitchen sometimes." He offered a laugh that fell flat. Sarah took a glance at Lily, who remained stiff. "I can help. I love cooking. It's my favorite." Lily's head perked upward, a flicker of interest sparking beneath the nervousness. "You cook?" "Yeah. Well, I try," Sarah smiled, gesturing toward the kitchen. "How about we make a sauce together? I can show you a really fun trick with garlic." For a brief moment, Mike felt a shift. The tension in Lily's posture softened, as if Sarah's enthusiasm was an ointment on a wound. It was a small flicker of light in the dimness of the evening. As they moved in the kitchen, Mike stood back, watching them. He couldn't help but feel a pang of hope. Maybe this would work. Maybe they could all laugh and share a meal like a family. He pulled out his phone, snapping a quick picture of the two of them laughing over the stove. He admired the sight, the shared excitement in the air, a fragile thread weaving them closer. But then Lily turned, her laughter faltering as Sarah leaned a little closer, a moment that felt delicate, like glass. "Do you think," she paused, a hesitant question hanging unasked in the air. "Do you think I'll be okay, Dad?" Lily's quiet concern caught him off guard, her voice a whisper lost among the clinking of pots. Mike's heart sank. "Of course, sweetheart. Why wouldn't you be?" But the truth was heavier, a haunting uncertainty lurking in the space between them. How could he promise her everything would be perfect when he was unsure himself? As the evening unfolded, laughter danced around the room, but behind the smiles was a lingering tension that took root deeper than he wanted to admit. The doubt gnawed at him even as they shared spaghetti and told stories. When dinner finally came to an end, Mike felt the weight of what was unsaid. Sarah looked at him, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and concern. "This was really nice, Mike. I enjoyed it." He nodded, nervousness tightening in his gut. "Yeah, me too." But when he glanced at Lily, her eyes were downcast, the unease surfacing once more. As they cleaned up together, the laughter faded, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. Mike realized they were at a crossroads. Should he lean into the blossoming connection with Sarah or hold on to his daughter's fragile heart? Just before Sarah left, she turned to him, hesitating. "I know things can be," she trailed off, searching for the right words. "Do you think we'll be okay?" In that moment, Mike felt the weight of her question. The undeniable truth settled heavily. Would he risk everything to pursue happiness, or would they all sink under the weight of expectations? As he stared into Sarah's hopeful eyes and Lily's troubled gaze, Mike knew a decision lay before him, one that could change everything. Would he embrace the unknown or retreat back to safety, leaving Sarah standing in the doorway? The quiet after dinner settled like a thick fog. Mike stood by the sink, a sponge in hand, staring blankly at the soapy water. It bubbled and swirled, but his mind was elsewhere, tangled in possibilities and fears. He couldn't shake Sarah's question about whether they would be okay. It lingered, echoing in the silence of the kitchen. Lily was at the dining table, her small hands doodling nervously on a napkin. He could see her silhouette, hunched forward as if carrying a weight that was too heavy for such tiny shoulders. Mike put down the sponge and wiped his hands on a dish towel, crossing the room to her side. She looked up, her blue eyes glistening with emotion. "Hey, sweet pea. You okay?" he asked, trying to keep his tone light. "Yeah," but the word came out like a sigh. She picked at the edges of the napkin, barely making eye contact. "It felt weird, right?" "Having Sarah here not weird, just new," he replied, sitting across from her. "Change can feel funny sometimes, and that's okay." Lily finally met his gaze, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. "But I don't want her to replace Mom." His heart squeezed. He wanted to promise her that nothing could replace the love they shared, that no one could fill that void. Nobody could ever replace her, Lily. You know that. She nodded slowly. But it feels like we shouldn't be moving on. Mike's chest tightened with the weight of her words. The struggle of moving forward while holding on to memories was a constant push and pull. Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It just means letting new people into our lives. It doesn't take away the love we have. It adds to it. But what if I don't want new people? Lily protested, her frustration bubbling beneath the surface. What if I just want Mom? Tears pricked his eyes. He felt so helpless. I miss her too, he admitted, swallowing hard against the lump in his throat. It's hard, but sometimes life surprises us. Sometimes it brings new friends who can help us in ways we never expected. Lily dropped her eyes again, fidgeting. Mike wanted to reach across and take her hand, to offer comfort, but he hesitated. He knew this wasn't just about Sarah. Their journey was messy, complicated, and different now. Can we just not have her over next time? Just us, okay? Lily's voice cracked, bringing tears to Mike's eyes. His heart sank. Absolutely, if that's what you need, he said gently. We can take our time with this. We don't have to do everything at once. The sudden silence felt like a breath of fresh air, a moment shared between them that spoke more words than they had exchanged all evening. The tension faded just a bit, an unspoken understanding blossoming in their small space. I just want you to be happy, Dad, Lily murmured, her voice small yet steady. And I want you to be happy too, he said, squeezing her hand now. The connection between them was palpable, solidifying in that moment. Hours later, as they prepared for bed, Mike replayed the evening in his head. The laughter that had filled the kitchen was now an echo, a reminder of how delicate everything was. He found himself wondering about Sarah again, what role she might play in their lives moving forward. Before sleep took over, a surge of courage pushed him to reach for his phone. He opened his messages to Sarah, contemplating the words he wanted to write. Should he invite her again? Just then, Lily's voice cut through the quiet. Dad? Yeah? What if we made something, like a cake? For when Sarah comes back. His heart swelled. You know what? I think that's a great idea. We'll make it together. Really? She perked up, a smile breaking through her earlier sadness. Absolutely. Mike felt the tiniest shift, a glimmer of hope. It was messy and uncertain, but maybe this special bond could work after all. As he settled into bed later, he stared at the ceiling, pondering what the next step would be. Deep down, he felt something shifting again within him, a willingness to embrace this new life, but also to protect the heart of the one he held dearest. Would he be brave enough to take that step when the moment arrived? Morning light filtered through the curtains, painting the room in soft shades of gold. Mike rubbed sleep from his eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the familiar swirl of emotions. The plan for the day echoed in his mind, baking a cake with Lily. It was something that felt grounded, an anchor in a sea of uncertainty. Lily was already up, her little form bustling around the kitchen, her hair in playful disarray. Flour was speckled on her cheek like a badge of honor from her early morning adventures. I want to make a chocolate cake, she declared, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Chocolate it is, Mike replied, letting a smile stretch across his face. The joy of their shared activity felt like a step toward rebuilding some normalcy. As they pulled ingredients from the pantry, he realized that this small act held deeper meaning. It was about more than just baking. They were creating something together, crafting a moment of joy from scratch, layer by layer. The measuring cups clinked against the bowls as they worked side by side. Mike mixed eggs and sugar while Lily carefully measured out flour, her tongue poking out in concentration. They laughed when some flour dust escaped into the air, a cloud of white that would settle as a reminder of their fun. Can we decorate it with sprinkles? Lily asked, her voice bright and hopeful. Of course. The more colorful, the better, he replied, his heart lightening with each moment spent with her. It was almost as if the heaviness they'd felt from their conversation the night before was lifting, replaced by the simple joy of baking a cake. Once the batter was in the oven, they cleared the counter. In the quiet that followed, Mike thought about Sarah again. Maybe reaching out wouldn't be so difficult. If Lily was willing to open up to new possibilities, perhaps he could too. "Dad, can we make a card for Sarah to go with the cake?" Lily's sudden suggestion pulled him out of his thoughts. "Absolutely. That's a wonderful idea." Mike felt a little tug in his heart, a blend of excitement and anxiety. They gathered markers and construction paper, spread them out on the table, and began to create. As Lily thoughtfully crafted her words and drawings, Mike felt a warmth wash over him. This was healing, a step forward, maybe even a family moment they could cherish. "I hope she likes it," Lily said, looking up with wide eyes, her innocence shining through. "She will. It's from the heart, and that's what counts." Mike smiled, doing his best to convey reassurance. After a few moments of quiet creative space, they admired their work. The cake, still in the oven, had begun to fill the house with a sweet, inviting aroma. Mike glanced at the clock and felt a sudden rush of anticipation. "I think it's time to check on the cake," he said, his pulse quickening slightly. As he opened the oven door, a wave of warm, chocolatey air enveloped him. The sight of the cake rising beautifully gave him a moment of pride. "Lily, come look." Together they peered into the oven, laughter bubbling up between them. In this small, domestic moment, Mike felt hope flourishing once more. Just then, his phone buzzed, a text message breaking the spell. It was Sarah asking if they could reschedule their next meeting. The message left him feeling torn, caught between wanting to maintain the comforting routine they de-established and the need to embrace something new. "Dad?" Lily's voice broke through his thoughts again. "Are we going to invite her to celebrate with us?" He hesitated. This one decision felt monumental. Could they really do this? Was he ready? Their eyes met, and he saw the mix of hope and apprehension reflected in her gaze. "I think we should," he answered quietly, feeling a strange sense of courage swell in his chest. As they moved to decorate the cake, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Would opening the door again to Sarah lead to joy, or complicate their fragile peace? And just like that, his heart danced between hope and fear, a question lingering in the air: would this cake bring them closer together, or would it stir up new challenges? The cake had cooled by the time Mike and Lily had finished decorating it. A colorful array of sprinkles splashed across the top, transforming the simple chocolate dessert into a canvas of cheer. Mike marveled at how a mixture of flour, sugar, and love could result in something so beautiful. "Look, Dad. It looks like a rainbow explosion." Lily twirled in excitement, her grin infectious. "Absolutely. It's a masterpiece." He couldn't help but laugh at her enthusiasm. In that moment, the worries about Sarah faded into the background. "Can we take a picture for Sarah before we eat it?" Lily suggested, her eyes bright with an idea. "That's a great idea," he replied, pulling out his phone. Lily positioned herself beside the cake, throwing up a peace sign while Mike snapped the photo. As he captured that joyful moment, a sense of warmth settled in his chest. It was a snapshot of happiness in a time when they both needed it most. Afterward, Mike texted Sarah the picture. As he did, his stomach twisted with a mix of excitement and nerves. He couldn't shake the feeling that inviting her into their home, into their newly formed routine, would change everything. Would it open wounds, or would it mend them? Lily, sensing the quiet tension that lingered, looked up from her coloring. "Dad, is Sarah coming over?" "Yeah, I think she will," he replied, taking a deep breath. "Can you tell her the cake is extra special?" "Of course," Mike smiled, his heart swelling. "It's a chocolate cake made with love." As the minutes passed, he felt time dragging. The cake sat like a beacon of anticipation on the kitchen table, its warmth still radiating memories of laughter and flower fights. They waited, the aroma mingling with the thrill of the moment. Finally, just as Mike began pacing the room, his phone dinged. It was a message from Sarah. "I'd love to come over." "What time?" "Lily. She's on her way." Mike called out, trying to hide his own fluttering heart. "Yay!" Lily jumped, her excitement bubbling over again. She tapped her feet in a little dance, clearly ready to welcome Sarah into their small celebration. Mike focused on preparing for her arrival, tidying up a bit, trying to keep the butterflies in his stomach at bay. The doorbell rang before he could convince himself that everything was perfectly in place. "Okay, here we go," he muttered under his breath. He opened the door, and there stood Sarah, her warm smile lighting up the afternoon. "Hi. I hope I'm not too late," she said, her eyes sparkling as they met his. "Not at all. We just finished decorating the cake. Come in." He stepped aside, allowing her to enter. As she walked through the door, an unexpected wave of familiarity washed over him. It was as if they'd picked up right where they'd left off. Lily rushed over to greet Sarah, her excitement bubbling over. "Look at the cake. It's got sprinkles. Can you believe it?" Sarah knelt down to meet Lily's gaze. "It looks amazing. You two are quite the bakers." Mike watched them, his heart swelling with a mix of admiration and trepidation. The warmth in the room was undeniable, but something unspoken hung in the air. "Just wait until you try it," Mike said, trying to gauge Sarah's reactions. "I think it might be our best creation yet." They moved to the dining table, where the cake stood proudly, a centerpiece of their efforts. With a knife in hand, Mike cut into the moist chocolate layers. As he plated the first piece for Sarah, the moment felt monumental. Would this simple gathering strengthen their connection? "I really appreciate you coming over," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Of course. I'm excited to be here," she replied, but Mike caught a glimmer of uncertainty in her smile. Just then, as they settled into their small celebration, an unexpected and surprising knock came at the door. Who could that be? Mike wondered aloud, exchanging a glance with Sarah. His heart raced as he opened it, bracing for yet another unpredictable twist in their day. What or who awaited them on the other side? Mike opened the door slowly, his heart thumping like a drum. Standing outside was a woman he hadn't expected in a million years. Her presence brought a rush of emotion, surprise, confusion, and something that felt like hope. It was Emma, a college friend from years back, someone he had shared so many late-night talks and dreams with before life had taken them on different paths. "Emma," he gasped, stepping back in disbelief. "What are you doing here?" She smiled shyly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd say hi. It's been too long." Her eyes sparkled with genuine warmth, but Mike couldn't ignore the awkwardness that lingered like an unwanted guest. Lily, sensing the sudden shift in energy, peeked around Mike's leg. "Who's this, Dad?" "This is Emma, a good friend of mine from college," he introduced, but he felt a pang in his chest as he spoke. It was strange to call her friend when there had been so much more between them back in the day, intense conversations about future plans, shared laughter over pizza, even moments of vulnerability. "Oh, nice to meet you," Lily chirped, her innocence cutting through the tension. "We made a cake. Wanna try it?" Emma crouched down to Lily's level, her smile softening. "Absolutely. I'd love to." As Mike stepped aside to let Emma in, he felt a rush of nostalgia. Memories flooded back, stupid arguments over finals, spontaneous road trips, and the day they both admitted they had feelings for one another. He had always wondered what could have been if they hadn't drifted apart amidst the chaos of life. "Wow, this place looks great. I'm impressed," Emma complimented, taking in their cozy living room adorned with family photos and crafts Lily had made. "Thanks." Lily helped, Mike replied, trying to shake off the unease. "We were just about to enjoy some cake if you're up for it." "Lead the way," Emma said, her enthusiasm genuine. As they moved towards the dining room, Mike caught a glimpse of Sarah standing awkwardly by the table, her expression unsure. The sight struck him like a bolt of lightning. He could see her processing the presence of another woman, a ghost from his past, and he felt the air grow heavier. "Emma, this is Sarah," Mike introduced, feeling the tension crackle. She's been a big part of Lily's life too. "Hi, nice to meet you," Sarah said, her smile bright but a little strained. The dynamic was electric, and Mike could feel both women weighing their reactions to one another. After some small talk, Mike cut another slice of the cake, the layers blending perfectly in a melty chocolate hug. He served Lily first, hoping her delight would somehow diffuse the awkwardness. "This is amazing." "Thanks, Dad," Lily exclaimed, her eyes glittering with joy as she took a generous bite. "How did you learn to bake like this?" Emma asked, genuinely intrigued that it felt good to share, to recount the evening they had whipped up the concoction while laughing and wrestling flour. But then his eyes darted to Sarah, who seemed lost in her thoughts, fighting with something just beneath her smile. Guys," Mike said, breaking the train of small talk. "I didn't expect today to turn into a little reunion." Sarah looked up, surprise in her eyes. "Yeah, neither did I." Just then, the doorbell rang again, slicing through the moment. They all exchanged glances, and Mike felt the pulse of uncertainty rush back. "You expecting someone else?" Emma asked, curiosity sparking that he shook his head, pushing down the sudden worry. "No, it's probably just a neighbor," he said too quickly. As he opened the door again, a chill ran down his spine. Who could this be? His heart sank as he prepared himself for yet another twist in the weaving tale of their lives, the air crackling with the tension of unspoken emotions and possibilities. What new revelations awaited them this time? Mike opened the door, his breath caught in his throat. Standing there was a man he didn't recognize immediately. He was tall, athletic, with sandy hair and a friendly smile that instantly set off alarms in Mike's mind. Can I help you?" Mike asked, squinting slightly, unsure if he should feel threatened or curious. "Hey. I'm Jason," the man said, extending his hand. "I'm a friend of Emma's. We met for coffee earlier, and she mentioned stopping by. I hope it's okay." The name hung in the air like a heavy weight. Mike's pulse quickened. He could feel both Emma and Sarah watching him closely, their expressions a mix of confusion and surprise. "Sure, come on in," Mike said, stepping aside yet again, trying to mask his unease. Was he supposed to feel intimidated? Nerves danced up and down his spine, but he reminded himself to play it cool. Lily, ever the curious observer, stepped forward. "Hi. Are you here for the cake?" "It's chocolate." Jason's face lit up, and he crouched to Lily's height. "Chocolate cake? You bet I am. Sounds delicious." Mike watched, feeling a strange sense of protectiveness, as Lily chatted away, completely at ease with this newcomer, her joy palpable. Emma's demeanor shifted slightly, a flicker of something unreadable crossing her face. "Jason, this is Mike and his daughter, Lily. Guys, this is Jason." They exchanged polite hellos, tension still hanging thick in the room. Mike couldn't shake the feeling that Jason's arrival had somehow shifted the entire dynamic. The small talk resumed, but Mike's mind was racing. Why was she with him? Was there something between them he hadn't known about? As the awkward smiles and laughs continued, Mike uneasily glanced at Sarah, who had gone quiet. Her eyes seemed to deepen, becoming distant as she stood back from the gathering like a shadow. Even though they were all present, it felt like an isolation, a strain. Emma picked up on the shift too. "You really should try the cake, Jason. It's a masterpiece," she urged, trying to lift the atmosphere. "Cooking is definitely one of Mike's talents," Sarah said, forcing a smile, but her tone carried a subtle edge. "Thanks," Mike replied, his gaze darting back and forth between the women and Jason. Everything felt borrowed from a surreal movie. Suddenly, a loud crash jolted them. A metal bowl had slipped off the table, rolling away like an unexpected portal to chaos. "Oops." Lily laughed, darting after it. "Leave it, I'll get it," Mike said, rising quickly, needing space to breathe. With the bowl successfully retrieved, he leaned against the counter, trying to ground himself. "Is everything okay?" Emma inquired, her voice soft and genuine, breaking through his thoughts. Mike turned, forcing a smile. "Yeah, it's a lot. Surprise visits and new people," he sighed, nervous laughter bubbling up. "I get it," Emma said empathetically. "It's been a lot for all of us. But it's good, right? To reconnect?" He wanted to believe it, but the weight of history felt heavier than ever. As he returned to the group, an unspoken tension crackled in the air. Mike picked up on fleeting glances being exchanged between Emma and Jason. Just what was their connection? He took a deep breath, steeling himself against the tide of emotions that threatened to wash over. A sense of unease gripped his heart. Lily's laughter pierced through the tension, a beacon of light. "Dad, hurry. We need more plates." "Right," he said, all too eager to escape the uncertainty swirling around him, but before he could reach the kitchen, Jason turned to him. "Mind if I have a minute? Could use some advice." "What's up?" Mike forced a grin, heart racing at what Jason might reveal. "Just about Emma," he replied, and Mike braced himself, wondering what serious implications such a conversation might entail. What did Jason want to say, and would it change everything he thought he knew about his past? Mike's stomach tightened as he faced Jason, who stood tall and confident, the easy smile still on his face. This was not the conversation Mike had anticipated when he answered the door. The kitchen seemed to fade away, the laughter muffled, replaced by a heavy silence that seemed to gather around them in an invisible cloud. "What about Emma?" Mike asked, keeping his tone casual, though inside, doubts nestled deeper. "I just feel like there's some unfinished business between you two," Jason said, his voice steady. "You guys were pretty serious, right?" "Yeah, we were," Mike admitted, the memories flooding back. Nights spent talking until dawn, plans for a future that felt so certain. "But that was a long time ago." Jason nodded, his gaze unwavering. "Emma hasn't stopped talking about you." "Not since we met." Mike's heart sank. "What do you mean?" "Talking about what?" "About how you made her feel. The good times, the struggles, everything. She said she still cares." "Care?" The word sliced through Mike's defensive facade. He thought he had moved on, he had to. But hearing it now sent his pulse racing in unexpected ways. He wanted to dismiss it, to laugh it off, but his throat felt tight. "Look, I'm not trying to stir the pot or anything. I just thought you should know," Jason said, his tone now softening. "It's clear she's thought about reaching out, but well, it's messy, right?" Messy felt like an understatement. There was a world of complications buried beneath that one word. Mike had spent years trying to understand why they ended things, why they drifted apart. It wasn't just the breakup, it was the silence that followed, the unshared truths. "Is she dating you?" Mike blurted out, surprised by the edge of jealousy slipping through. "No, not really. We're just friends. I know it seems like a lot with me here today, but I wanted to be supportive. Emma's been through a lot." "Her past, huh?" Mike replied, the weight of nostalgia gripping him more tightly. "Yeah, and you should know, she talks highly of you. Fills in little stories like they matter." Jason paused for a moment, gauging Mike's expression. "What I'm saying is that if there's a chance to rekindle something, well, it's worth considering." Just then, Lily poked her head into the room, her face full of innocence yet carrying a playful sparkle. "Dad! I can't find the plates." "Right. Coming." Mike swallowed hard, feeling the heaviness of the conversation linger in the air. He turned back to Jason. "Give me a second." He walked into the kitchen, a whirlwind of emotions whirling inside him. "Hey, you okay?" Sarah's voice cut through his thoughts, her eyes searching his face. "Yeah, let's just say I'm catching up on old memories," Mike replied, forcing a smile. "How about you?" "Struggling a bit, honestly," she admitted, glancing toward the living room. I don't know how I fit into all of this. Same here. Mike reached out, a comforting hand on her arm. It's just surprising. All these memories. Sarah's brow furrowed as she looked toward the living room. You think Emma still has feelings for you? I don't know. Mike exhaled. I want to believe it could mean something, but everything's complicated. It's like reopening old wounds. That's true. Sarah looked thoughtful. But maybe it's also a chance for healing? Sometimes the hardest paths bring us back to where we started, only wiser. As Mike measured Sarah's words, he felt the faintest flicker of hope amidst the confusion. Yet, the uncertainty of Emma's feelings and what they could mean for him twisted in his gut. They both turned as Jason strolled in again, the sound of laughter and Lily's bright voice lighting up the dim room. Got those plates? Jason asked with a grin, breaking the tension that had built like a storm cloud. Sure, Mike answered, his mind still churning. Swallowing hard, he couldn't help but feel that this conversation with Jason was just the beginning. The weight of decisions loomed ahead. Should he confront Emma about this, the past, their connection? Just then, a blast of laughter erupted from the living room, breaking through the tension. Okay. Cake time. Lily shrieked, the simple joy bringing warmth back into the room, but as Mike walked toward the laughter, a thought struck him sharply. Whatever direction they took next, there was a reckoning waiting. What could come from it? Was he ready to find out? With uncertainty shadowing him, Mike caught Jason's eye. What now? What would come next for them all? Mike walked back into the living room, his heart racing. The atmosphere shifted as he felt the weight of expectations hanging above them. Laughter echoed, but beneath it, a current of unspoken feelings swirled. Lily was bouncing up and down, her excitement contagious. Cake time. She squealed again, her enthusiasm cutting through the tension. Mike couldn't help but smile at her eagerness, his beacon in a storm of uncertainty. Sarah stood by the table, watching the interactions unfold. She caught Mike's eye and offered a nervous smile, as if trying to gauge his thoughts. Emma buzzed with energy, engaging Lily about the cake. Did you really make this? It looks incredible. Mike watched as Lily proudly nodded, her innocent joy washing over the room like sunlight after weeks of rain. It struck him then this was what mattered most. This little girl, with her brightly colored drawings and laughter that echoed off the walls, was his heart. The cake was sliced, and Sarah grabbed a plate, excitement fluttering in her eyes. Okay, who wants the biggest piece? She looked at each of the three of them, teasingly pointing. Mike chuckled as Jason chimed in, right here. I'll take the biggest piece since it's my first time. Not if I can help it. Lily exclaimed, throwing her hands in the air. Her laughter danced in the air, lifting their spirits like a song. As the interaction unfolded, Mike felt the tension from earlier begin to dissolve. They shared stories, laughter filling the space between them, slowly knitting the fractures that had formed. It felt good, revitalizing, a breath of fresh air in an otherwise complicated moment. Wow, this cake really does taste amazing, Jason declared as he savored another bite, his enthusiasm genuine. Mike looked at Sarah, who seemed to relax more with each passing moment. She caught his eye again, and for the first time all evening, her smile reached her eyes, not the strained one from before, but pure delight. But beneath the laughter, Mike felt the persistent pressure of choices yet to be made. He glanced at Emma, who was animatedly chatting with Lily about her favorite toppings. There was an undeniable connection there, yet it didn't overshadow the budding relationship he felt with Sarah. The mix of hope and anxiety churned inside Mike. Maybe it was possible for both connections to coexist, for love to take different shapes. He wanted Lily to thrive in a world where love was present, without losing the essence of their little family. As conversations flowed, Jason stood to refill his plate, and Mike seized the opportunity to lean closer to Sarah. You good? He whispered, seeking assurance amidst the chaos. She nodded, her eyes sparkling. I think this is nice and needed, she replied softly. Mike took a deep breath, courage swelling in his chest. It was time for honesty. Sarah, can we talk for a second? he asked. She met his gaze with an inquisitive expression. Yeah, sure. Let us step outside. They moved to the back porch, the breeze brushing against them like a refreshing embrace. I want you to know how much I've enjoyed getting to know you, Mike began, his heart racing. But it's complicated with Lily and everything. I get it, Sarah replied, her voice steady. You're a great dad. But you deserve happiness too. You can have both. The words hung in the air, a lifeline for them both. The reality of trying to balance life, love, and family felt daunting, yet refreshing. Back inside, laughter erupted again as Lily recounted her latest antics at school. The joy rang clear, wrapping around Mike's heart, reminding him of the purpose behind every difficult decision. Let us take this slow, Mike finally said, looking Sarah in the eyes. I want to figure this out not only for us but for Lily. We can do that, Sarah assured him, a smile spreading across her face. We can grow together. As they returned to the laughter-filled living room, the room seemed lighter. Mike felt the weight of expectations ease a little. Love and happiness weren't barriers to parenting, they were part of the same journey. Later, as the evening began. Winding down and they all settled on the couch, Mike asked Lily. What do you think of our special guests today? Awesome. The cake is the best. She exclaimed, her bright smile lighting up the room. See? Mike glanced at Sarah and Emma, feeling the warmth swell in his heart. It's a good start. And just like that, amidst the chaos of new connections and old friends, Mike knew they were all on a journey together. A journey of embracing love, cherishing memories, and creating new ones. Hey, Mike said suddenly, his heart racing. Thank you all for being here tonight. The room erupted into a chorus of agreement, and for the first time in a long time, Mike felt hopeful, his heart wide open to possibility. Let's make this a regular thing, Jason suggested. Cake and laughter. Deal. Lily chimed in, her eyes sparkling. And just like that, Mike realized they were weaving a new tapestry of family and friendship, and he couldn't wait to see where the journey would lead them. As they shared more stories, laughter blending into the fabric of the evening, Mike felt something shift within him. This was their story, the beginning of a new chapter. Trust, laughter, and love intertwined into something beautiful. He finally knew, deep down, that he was ready to embrace it all. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us going strong. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Remember, only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.